Hi, freelance friends. Welcome back. My name's Jennifer, and this is the Freelance Shift. I talk about how to help freelancers simplify their tools and workflows so that you can work less and hopefully earn more while avoiding burnout. So today I'm going to talk about Microsoft Designer versus Microsoft Create. So if you didn't see the episode where we discussed Microsoft Create and all of the fabulous capabilities that it had, I'll drop that link into the notes for this episode and you can check that out. Because I know that at least for me as a freelancer, I am constantly trying to balance two competing needs, which is producing work quickly and making sure it still looks professional. And this is where I feel like these tools will really come in and benefit you. Because I know that whether I'm creating content for my own business or I'm preparing training materials or putting together client-facing deliverables, the design aspect of things has become part of my everyday workflow. Even though I am not a designer by trade, this is not one of my superpowers, but it's one of those things that as a, solo freelancer, I have to attack. So I have been using some of Microsoft's AI-powered tools, as most of you know. And as I mentioned, I already did mention Microsoft Create. Today, I'm going to focus a little bit more on Designer, but also discuss the differences between Create and Designer so that you can basically get grounded in that. The reason that I wanted to do this is because I feel like that comparison really will show the different approaches that Designer takes to design as compared to Create. For instance, what really stood out to me is that these tools are often mentioned together, but they do solve slightly different problems. And I think that understanding the difference really makes it easier, at least for me, to decide which one to use in my freelance work. So the first time that I used Designer, what struck me about it was how quickly it moved from idea to finished visual. So instead of starting with a completely blank canvas or template, you can simply type something in like professional LinkedIn post announcing a new online training service for freelancers. And then within moments, Designer is going to generate layout options, complete with images, typography, and design structure. So this may end up feeling a little less like using a traditional design software package and more like collaborating with an assistant who already understands visual formatting, which again, in my case, I can use all the help I can with any visual formatting needs. So what I found especially useful about it from a freelancer point of view is that it was easy for me when I needed a quick social media post, a simple marketing graphic, a visual to support a blog or a training session, or even just design inspiration. Designer can really help you to create something usable in minutes, not hours. Now, Designer does include some AI features like AI image generation, background removal, and automatic resizing, which means that you don't have to jump between multiple tools just to finish one simple visual. Obviously, that is a big, big advantage. So for me, Microsoft Designer feels like the tool that you reach for when you're thinking, I need this to look good and I need it fast. But how does that compare to Microsoft Create, which we discussed in a previous blog post? So in that blog post, when I discussed Create, I spoke about that experience and what you could do with that. But here I want to point out the contrast. I don't want to repeat what I already said, so if you're interested, check out that other blog post. But otherwise, just you can probably glean a little bit from just discussing the contrast between the two. Where designer feels like a prompt-driven creative assistant, Create feels more like a structured starting point. It's template-based, which means you're not generating ideas from scratch generally. You're selecting from pre-built formats designed for specific purposes like resumes or flyers or presentations. So the difference changes the experience completely. With Microsoft Create, you're usually thinking, I already know what I need to make. I just want a strong professional starting point. With Designer, it's more of, I have an idea, but I need help turning it into something visual. Now, of course, there is some overlap, and that's a very broad generalization, but I'd say that if I had to say what the differences were, that would be the best way to describe it. So while Create is about structure and consistency, Designer is about flexibility and generation. So how do they work in my freelance workflow? Well, over time, I've started to see these tools as complementary rather than competitive. Basically, my personal workflow is there are moments when I start with Microsoft Create, say when I'm building something structured like a proposal, a training outline, or a branded document. It gives that clean foundation and it'll save you time on formatting decisions. But then when you need supporting visuals to that, like social media posts or promotional graphics or even just design ideas, then you can switch over to Microsoft Designer and you'll be able to experiment, generate variations, and quickly refine something so that you get something visually appealing. Together, these tools can cover both sides of freelance work. You can get the structure and formatting with Create. You can get the visual creativity and speed with Designer. So basically, what this means, what I've taken away from both tools, is that they're not really trying to replace design skills. They're trying to remove friction. And as freelancers, we don't have the time or the budget oftentimes to create every visual like a full design project. Sometimes we just need something that looks professional enough to support our message and move on. And Microsoft Create can help reduce the time spent building the structure. Microsoft Designer can help reduce the time spent actually creating the visual. And I think when you use them together, they're going to make it possible to produce a polished, professional looking material without getting stuck in the technical side of design. So I don't necessarily think that tools like Designer or Create are about replacing creativity. I know that some people worry about this, especially with the AI integration. Personally, I feel like if anything, they've made me more aware of where my time actually goes when I'm creating content. Some tasks need structure, others need visual exploration, and interestingly, I'm finding that these tools that, integrate the AI components are best used when you're really clear about which one you need to implement in the moment and, in general, how you want to implement it. So for freelancers especially, that distinction matters. The goal isn't to become a designer overnight. It's to communicate clearly, present your work professionally, and inevitably spend more time on the work that actually drives your business forward. So a quick little comparison between the two. I hope that it was helpful. For more detail on Create, please check out that other video. And if you found any of this useful, please like and subscribe. It really helps support the channel. I appreciate it. Take care. Bye.